So welcome all of you. The subject called microprocessors and microcontrollers. My name is V. Srinivasarao, Department of ECE, Associate Professor. Today I would like to explain a new topic, one more new topic, because in my uh, previous slide I was explained why microprocessors and where they are applicable and how they will be useful in our daily life. I was explained. And some of the basics also is explained related to microprocessors and microcontrollers. So here microprocessors and microcontrollers in short they are called as MPMC or MUP and MUC. Here mu stands for micro, whereas micro means 10 power minus 6. So why it is called as 10 power MPMC or MPMC we will see. So this is the topic I am going to explain now. 8086 block diagram. But instead of going directly to the topic, here I want to explain some of the background or basic of this 8086 block diagram. So why it is called as micro of the microprocessor is here they are explaining different reasons in the internet. So one of the reason for the name microprocessor comes to the basis of its processing speed. So the microprocessor speed is always calculated by the frequency of operation. For example, 8086 and 85 microprocessor if we take, it is operating at 3 megahertz of frequency. So its execution time is the reciprocal of frequency. So time is equal to 1 by f or f equal to 1 by t, which comes in microseconds. How it comes in microseconds? Here I am explaining. 3 megahertz equal to 3 into 10 power 6, where mega 10 power 6 means mega, whereas 10 power 9 is giga, 10 power 3 is kilo. So the reciprocal of this 10 power 6, 1 by 10 power 6, it becomes 10 power minus 6. So 10 power minus 6 is called as micro. In those days, from 1885 onwards, processors were started operating at megahertz of frequency. Maybe this was the one of the reason. And one more reason, it is so called because this device comprises of transistors which are small in size, micrometer, uh, because in those days these chips, the first microprocessor was the LSA chip, next microprocessors were called as VLSA chip. So the length of the transistor, length and width of the transistor at the channel is in terms of microns. So that's why it's called as micron technology. Maybe it was called as microprocessor. One more reason in those days, this was the one of the device which was manufactured in terms of very smaller in size. That's what it's called as microprocessor. So these are the some of the reasons why it was called as micro. So here I am giving difference between microprocessor and micro in terms of animations. All of you go through this animation. It has three blocks: ALU, register array, and control unit. So what ALU performs here you can see that. So it performs arithmetic and logical operations like addition, subtraction, and all. So register is a temporary memory location. So the control unit is responsible for controlling of operations, and it also produces timing signals. This control unit also helps to provide decoding, and it also exchange the data between microprocessor, memory, and I/O devices. So these are the applications using in mobile phones, washing machines, and all. So this topic was I was explained yesterday in the first PPT. So this is the block diagram of microcontroller. All are packed into a single chip. That's why it's called a small computer also. So this is the definition of microprocessor. So the microprocessor is a multi-purpose clock-driven register-based digital integrated circuit that accepts binary data as input and processes it according to instructions stored in its memory and provides result as output. So we will see what is the definition. Multi-purpose means as we all know that the laptops and desktops are used for multi-purpose. So we are executing different types of applications, and it is run by one clock signal, and its internal, as we have seen in the previous animation, internally this microcontroller is having different registers to perform different operations. So what is a simple operation of microprocessor is microprocessor is a control unit of my computer fabricated in a single chip, and it is capable of performing ALU operations and communicating with other devices connected. This is a simple operation in terms of microprocessor, what it does. So the microprocessor, why it is called small chip is it was one of the types of ICs, LSI, the first microprocessor, which was invented in 1970, and it belongs to fourth generation of computers. So different parts of microprocessor, ALU, register array, and control unit. So ALU performs arithmetic and logical operations on the data received from the memory or an input device. Register array consists of different registers depending on processor, and it will have an accumulate register also. The control unit is responsible to move data between computer and the other devices. So how does a microprocessor work? The microprocessor follows a sequence of operations are called fetching, decoding, and execution. And here, initially the instructions are stored in the memory in a sequential order. The microprocessor fetches those instructions from the memory, then decodes it and executes those instructions till stop instruction is reached. Means microprocessors and microcontrollers are running by the programming only because they are available in smaller in size, so manual we cannot operate. So they have to operate by using programming. So when the last statement or the stop instruction is executed, it tries to fetch the instructions, decode instructions, and execute instructions. Decoding and executing done by the execution unit, whereas fetching is done by the bus interface unit that we'll see later. This concept is called as pipelining. And in edge radixes, we are having instruction byte queue uh, to execute this concept. This is the cycle of fetch, decode, and execution. And here you can see clearly when first instruction is fetched, no instruction is decoded. When it is decoding first instruction, the second instruction is fetched. When first instruction is executing, and second instruction is decoding, and the third instruction it tries to fetch. So here what is happening, this concept is called as pipelining, and speed of operation will be increased. So within one clock cycle, we can fetch the three instructions from the memory. So that's why here this concept is called pipelining, and it will increase the speed of operations. Whereas 8085 is not supporting pipelining, and 8086 is supporting pipelining. So these are the different blocks of microprocessor. So evolution of microprocessors. So before going to the real evolution, here I want to explain four series of ICs. So there is called the first number for all these ICs is 4 series, 4 number 4. That's why this series is called as 4 series. So first they were not manufactured microprocessor. First they were manufactured ROM IC, which was a 4-bit port, and then they were manufactured 4002 one more IC is a RAM. These two are memories, memory chips, And next, they were manufactured one shift register for storing of the data or shifting of the data. Then they have started by using these registers. Why don't we design one more chip which was called as 4004 microprocessor? Because microprocessor fetching data from the memory, but it has internally shift register. So that's why here different types of 4 series ICs. One of the 4 series IC was called as 4004. It was manufactured in the year of 1970 and its clock frequency was 674 kilohertz. And when we have a number of ICs, why Jane manufactured by different companies like AMD and Motorola? Why JN2 is offering only Intel ICs like 4-bit and 8-bit ICs? Because here I am giving some of the features of Intel chips. Right. So these features are here maybe price, power and performance. Intel chips offers very low, consumes very low power. And performance is very high uh, because uh, the one core, how much amount of work can be done by the Intel will be done by the AMD process with many cores. Here you can see, and here Intel has on-board graphics chips or graphic cards, whereas AMD has off-board graphic cards, but weaker in the performance of those cards. So this is the evaluation of microprocessors. First, in 1823, silicon was invented. Next, logic gates were invented. Then, three scientists in Bell Laboratories they were invented transistor, and this transistor has changed this world completely. And it is used in designing of integrated circuits by reducing their size by Job Kilby. But in 1971, Intel Corporation was founded. Intel stands for Integrated Electronics. With the help of Ted Hoff, they were manufactured the first microprocessor called 4004. And the number of operations per second they were executed in those days 60,000 operations. And in 1976, they have introduced 8085. And in 1978, some of the places there in 1978, 8086 was introduced. 8085 was 8-bit microprocessor, whereas 8086 was 16-bit microprocessor. It means speed of operation can be increased, right? Because 8085 can execute only 8-bit operations, whereas 8086 can execute 16-bit operations, and 8086 also supports pipelining also. So these are all different types of processors released by different companies along with Intel. So here you can see that Motorola IC, and here you can see that Intel has introduced like this 4004, 4040, 8080, 8008, 8085, 8086, 186, 286, 386, 486, 586, and Pentium 1, Pentium 2, Pentium 3, Pentium 4, Pentium 5, like that. And later on, it was introduced 4 to duo or dual core processors, i3 processors, quad core processors, i5 processors, i7 processors. And now we are using i9 and i10 processors for our applications. And i9 was introduced in 2018 with 18 cores. Right. So these are the different types of processors. General purpose processor. So there are five types of general purpose processors. They are specific processor, specific purpose processor or microcontroller, microprocessors, embedded processors, DSP processors, media processors, and graphic processors. These are different types of processors. And the processors are also categorized based on number of bits: 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, and 64-bit processors. So today's laptops, desktops, or laptops all are running on 64-bit processors. But to manufacture the 32-bit and 64-bit processors, they have taken the 8086 as a reference processor. And Based on instruction set, the processors are categorized into six kind RISC processors, and one of the RISC processor in our syllabus is ARM processor. So what is the meaning of 16-bit CPU, 8 microprocessor is these are the three parameters. So the width of data bus is 16-bit, the size of the register is 16-bit, and the size of the ALU also to perform arithmetic operations must be in terms of 16-bit. So that's why when we have a 16-bit or 32-bit or 64-bit processor means data bus must be 16-bit, register size must be 16-bit, and ALU operations must be performed in terms of 16-bit of operations. So that then all it is called as 16-bit or 32-bit microprocessor. So what are the features of 8086? Right, here we have enormous features of 8086 microprocessor. It was launched in the era of 1978 by Intel Corporation, and it is a 16-bit microprocessor. So what is the meaning of 16-bit microprocessor? It must have 16 data lines, and the ALU operations also must be 16-bit, and registers width also must be in terms of 16-bit. So that's why it is called as 16-bit microprocessor, and it has 20 address lines. So why we need address lines? Because data is memory is available outside of the chip or inside of the chip. So for the microprocessor, that complete data is available outside of the chip as one more chip. So to extract data or instructions from the memory, we have to search for that, so where it is available. And this it has 20 address lines. To these 20 address lines will decide how much amount of memory. So 2 power 10 is 1 kilobyte, and 2 power 20 is 1 megabyte, 2 power 30 is 1 gigabyte. So 2 power 20 gives 1 megabyte of memory to store the data, and it supports multiplexed address and data lines. Means here in the pin diagram, uh, to reduce the number of pins, and when because size of the IC is reduced, so we have to reduce the number of pins also. So when we are fetching data or instruction from the memory, there is no operation of data lines. So at that point of time, data lines are free. So that's why here what they are doing, the address lines and data lines are combined or multiplexed as only one line. That is what we call the multiplexed address and data lines as AD0 to AD15. It is actually A0 to A15 and D0 to D15, and remaining four address lines A16 to A19 are available with four more pins. As we know that 8086 is a low power device. How can you say that low power device? Because it is manufactured with CMOS technology with operating voltage of 5 volts or less than 5 volts. That's why it is called operating at low power. It is a low power IC, and its frequency of operation are 5 mega, 8 mega, and 10 megahertz of frequency. As 8086 is operating in different versions, and those different versions are operating at 5 mega, 8 mega, and 10 megahertz of frequency. It has two operating modes: minimum mode and maximum mode of operation. So minimum mode means only we use only one processor, whereas if we use more than one processor, multi-tasking or multi operations, then it's called as maximum mode. That we'll discuss in later. And it supports pipelining. Just now we have seen what is pipelining, and it supports memory segmentation also. So these 20-bit address lines will give the how much amount of memory. There are two types of memory: alignment memory or non-alignment memory. In the alignment memory, it is very difficult to search the data where it is available. Take for example, our computer desktop also, our memory is segregated into or fragmented into C drive, D drive, U drive, and F drive like that. Whereas if we have only one memory, if it's not segregated, when we are storing the data, when more amount of data is stored, it is not. It is very difficult to search our files and data. That's why it supports memory segmentation that we'll see later, and it supports up to 256 interrupts. So for different execution of different tasks will be done by the interrupt concept, and it supports up to 256, whereas 8086 supports only 5 to 6 types of interrupts, like RST, like that, 6.5, 7.5, like that. Only few instructions are there in terms of interrupts. But here we are having 256 interrupts. So to execute this interrupt, we are having interrupt controller also, and it has 9 flags to indicate arithmetic operations. Flags means when we are adding two values or three values, carry or auxiliary carries or overflow values, all are outside of the data representation. So that's why here we need flag registers that we'll discuss in the next coming slides. And it is packed into 40 pins. It is a 40 pin IC. So these are the so this animation explains how CPU is fetching data from the memory, either RAM memory or raw memory. See here, data is fetching data from hard disk drive. So hard disk drive is a permanent memory, whereas RAM is a temporary. So any data, when it is fetching to the processor, it must be executed through RAM only. So when we increase the RAM size, so more data can be stored by the RAM, and from that RAM we can fetch the data, so speed of operation can be increased. So this is the block diagram as we have seen in the previous animation video. So microprocessor is connected to memory. So this is what we call the memory interfacing, and this dotted line indicates 8086 IC. So inside of the 8086, we are having two units. Bus interfacing unit, BIU stands for bus interfacing unit, and U stands for execution unit. So this bus interfacing unit and execution unit is having different functional units that we will see in the next slides. So these are the bus interfacing unit functional units. It has instruction pointer, it has segment registers, it has instruction queue, and it has address conversion mechanism. Why we need all these functional units? Because to perform these operations. So what are the functionalities of bus interfacing unit? We will see. So it provides interfacing with external memory to fetch the instructions or data from memory, write the data to the memory after execution, or read or write the data from the ports, input and output ports. So according to the block diagrams I have shown number of times, according to the block diagram of the computer, microprocessor is connected to input, output device and memory also, right? And it stores fetched instructions from memory into 6-byte queue, and it also generates 20-bit address because it has address conversion mechanism, and it also provides pipelining through queue. So this is the instruction byte queue. So what is the advantage of this instruction byte queue is we can fetch the data from memory byte by byte, but one instruction at least needs 2 bytes of data because 8086 is a 60-bit microprocessor. So when 2 bytes of memory data is from the memory to data instruction is fetched, that is loaded into instruction byte queue. If instruction size is only 2 bytes, then there is a 4 more bytes of free memory in this instruction byte queue. So again, we can fetch one more instruction. That concept we have seen already in the pipelining. And if that size is also 2 bytes, so the first 2 bytes will be moved to this 3 and 4 slots, and next one more instruction will be stored in the 6 and 5. So like that, we can store at a time 2 to 3 instructions or one instruction, because sometimes uh, number of types of instructions are having 2 bytes to 6 bytes of instructions. So like that, we can execute this a number of instructions at a time. When this first instruction is fetched, then that goes to the execution unit, that goes to control unit, the instruction and instruction controller, decoding and control unit. So here it will control the operations of execution unit or starts the operation of execution unit, and it also decodes that instruction into the execution according to execution unit. So this execution unit is having arithmetic and logical unit. If it sees that it is arithmetic operation or logical operation, and this perform the arithmetic and logical operations by storing the data into this AX, BX, CX, and DX registers, which are called as general purpose registers. So here, this instruction byte queue, what it does, the bus interface unit fetches instruction bytes while EU is executing an instruction. The simultaneous operations of bus interface unit and EU possible only when the EU does not require the system bus. The processing of which is the next instruction in advance while the EU is executing the current instruction is known as pipelining. So this is execution unit. So execution unit of functional units, execution function units are ALU, general purpose registers, index and point registers, flag register. So here these four are called as general purpose registers, and these two are called as point registers, and these two are called as source index and destination index are called as index registers. So whereas in the case of this bus interfacing unit, ES, CS, SS, and DS are called as segment registers, and IP is called as instruction pointer. In 8086, 8085, this instruction pointer called as program counter. The main purpose of this instruction pointer is to execute the address of next instruction. So this animation shows what is ALU. The operations. ALUs which load data from input registers. So these are all logical operations. So these logical operations perform in terms of binary numbers. They are called zeros and ones. So these logic gates internally having transistor based circuits. So this is execution unit. So the control unit as a part of execution unit, it is responsible for controlling and coordinating of all activities performed by various subunits. It is mainly responsible for controlling and coordinating of all activities, and this unit fetches the instructions from instruction queue and decodes it, and then for execution it sends to the execution unit ALE. The control unit issues various control signals such as read or write data to perform various operations. So as we have seen in the animation video, a register is a temporary storage element. Why registers are very here important is the processor access the data through the registers more quickly than memory. So the speed of register accessing data is more compared to memory. So compared to registers, memories are very small, very slow. The binary data in a register can be moved within the register from one flip-flop to another flip-flop because flip-flops are storage elements. So the registers that allow such data transfers are called shift registers. The combination of flip-flops is called as register, and these registers that allow such data transfers within the register. If the data is moved from left side or right side or circular shape, they are called as shift registers, and they are four types. So here in 8086 microprocessor, we have different types of registers, and these registers are used to copy or move the data from one register to another register. So this is the sample of the programming. In this programming, we are using AX, DS, AX, BX, AX, and CX register. These are all called registers. These are all called registers, and this is the data. And here, before going to the next slides, this topic is very much important. So here, what is meant by byte and what is meant by lower byte and what is meant by higher byte. Suppose if my age, as we know that 8086 microprocessor is a 16-bit microprocessor. So that's why here I'm taking 16 slots, 1 to 16. So here 1 to 8 are 8 values. So it is called as 8 values are called as, or 8 bits are called as byte. So here it is called as lower byte, and 9 to 16 are called higher values compared to 1 to 8. That's why it is called as higher byte. Actually, how data is representing? Data is representing in terms of 4 bits, 8 bits, and 16 bits. So 4 bits called nibble, 8 bits called byte, and 16 bits is called as 2 bytes or word sometimes. So these are the different registers we are using in 8086. So here we are having general purpose registers, point registers, index registers, instruction pointer, segment registers, and flags. So here, except general purpose registers, all are available only in terms of 16 bits. So we have to use them as 16 bits, and we have to store the data in terms of 16 bit also. Whereas in the case of general purpose registers, here they are available either in terms of 16 bit or in terms of 8 bits. Here X stands for extension of 8-bit values is known as AX, BX, CX, and DX registers. So here we will see the operation of these registers in detail. And here these 5 registers are part of bus interfacing unit, and here these registers are part of your execution unit. Right. So what is the purpose of general purpose registers is, so general purpose registers are used to store the data temporarily, storage of data and memory access temporarily, and 8086 has 4 general purpose registers, and these are available to the programmer for storing values during programs. So each of these can be divided into two 8-bit registers. Besides their general use, these registers also have some specific functions that we will see here. So AX is called as accumulate register. Why it is called accumulator is most of the operations before performing the operation or after performing the operation also we use this register for storage of the data either temporarily or sometimes permanently. So here it holds X holds operands and results during multiplication and division operations also. And this AX register also used in and out instructions like in the form of AX or AL and AH registers. It functions as accumulator during string operations. And in 8086 microprocessor, it is not mandatory. This is very important. It is not mandatory to have accumulator as destination operand. Whereas in some microprocessors, we use this AX register as a mandatory to be used as a destination operation. So here I am giving an example, add AX comma BX. Here the data is not addition of AX and BX, it is the BX to AX. Here you can see that the BX content is added with the AX register. The result again is stored by the AX register. So BX register is called as base register, Why it is called as base register means here addresses are two types, offset address and segment address. This offset address can be represented by base register also. This address may be 8-bit address or maybe 16-bit address. So 8-bit addresses can be represented by BX and BL and BH, whereas 16-bit address can be stored by BX register. So move CL comma bracket of this BX. This bracket indicates address location. If we don't have this bracket means this register can hold the data values. So address means which is related to our memory. CX register. CX register is a 16-bit register. It holds count for instructions like loop, loop instructions, rotate instructions, shift and string operations. So for example, we are having here one programming, simple programming, how to add 40 values. So for example, move CX comma 40, 40H means 40H is copied into CX register. We all know that CX is a counter register, and now I'm taking one loop back, move AL comma BL means BL content goes to AL if any content is in BL. Now add the values of AL with BL and move AL content to BL once again. Why? Because this instruction, as we have seen the earlier explanation, the add AL comma BL means the content of BL is added with AL and result is again stored in AL register. Now to perform one more operation, AL must become free. So this is the content of AL register goes to BL. Now loop back means this loop instruction internally performs the content operation on CX register and it will decrease the content of CX register by 1 or 2 bytes of data. So it means move CX comma 40H becomes 38H because already it was operated on 40H. So it is CX register means 16-bit register. So here we are having one more very important register which is called data register or DX register. Its main purpose is used to utilize in multiplication and division operations. Because in division we have two outputs, coefficient and remainder. So remainder is stored by DX register. In multiplication also, if you multiply two 16-bit values, result will be 32-bit. So the overflow of that 16-bit will be stored by DX register. So this is the main purpose of this DX register. So in this, for example, in this instruction, mul BX, multiplication and division don't have any destination operand directly here in the instruction itself, but it performs the content of bx will be multiplied by ax, but result is stored by dx and ax register. Is not dx minus ax. Here it shows that the content of operation is performed by ax and bx stored by dx and ax registers. So this is the sample program. Once again shows that what is the meaning of segment registers. So here we are having two types of segments, data segment and code segment. A program can have four segments also, like a code segment block, stack segment block, data segment block, and extra segment block. So here we are taking two segments, data segment and code segment. So code segment helps us to write the programs using instructions, whereas data segment helps us to store the data, right, to be performed. Suppose I am performing add ax comma bx, right? So the content of ax, the ax register is filled by a variable and bx is filled by b variable. So here a and b are the two variables represented with 0202h and 0408h. So these are the data values to be added by this ax and bx register. So here, so this is the instructions part which is called as code. That's why the segment is called as code segment. So the code segment register used for addressing memory locations, whereas stack segment register use addressing stack segment of memory, whereas data segment and extra segment are the two registers called data segment registers only. But whenever we want to store two different types of data, then we use extra segment register as a data segment also. Stack pointer and base pointer. This is stack pointer register used to point the stack, and base pointer used to point not only stack segment and also can be pointed out by any segment registers. And this topic will be explained in the next slide. Here, the physical address of the 20-bit address of the memory can be accessed by the segment address and offset address. If it is code segment, it can be combined with instruction pointer, because code segment means which is having internally some codes or instruction. That's where having one instruction pointer. Data segment register can be combined with BX, DI, and SI. Stack segment is combined with the stack pointer and base pointer, whereas extra segment can be combined with BX, DI, and SI. What use of two segment registers? Two types of registers, segment registers and offset registers here is. So for example, you take this segment registers. The segments are nothing but take a text book, whereas this offset registers means pages in the text book. Right. We cannot read the complete textbook at a time. We have to go by page. Like that, here also data will be stored by or operated by instruction pointer along with the code segment addresses. That is the use of having two types of addresses here. So these are the different types of differences between microprocessors and microcontrollers. So microprocessors mainly used in gaming, web browsing, document creation means a larger file creations or high bandwidth applications cannot be run by microcontrollers, whereas this microprocessor is only used. That's why desktops and laptop computers will be used for this gaming and web browsing, whereas this microcontrollers helps us to dedicated applications like camera, washing machine, micro ovens and all to perform only one single operations, whereas but the cost of the microprocessor is very high compared to microcontrollers. That's why here we need more amount of memory in terms of RAM memory and ROM memory. Here they are taking 512 MB to 32 GB of RAM up to 2020, whereas hard disk or storage they are taking 128 GB to 2 terabyte today. And this is one of the previous question paper. Here they are asking what is importance of pipelining concept in 8086 microprocessor and how to calculate the physical memory of 8086. This will be explained in the next PPT. And here you can see the 50 marks question. Draw the internal architecture of 8086 microprocessor and explain the functionality of each block in detail. So these are the different types of questions can be asked on this topic. That is block diagram of 8086. So this topic covers 3 to 4 types of questions. That is internal architecture of 8086, and importance of pipelining, and a physical address calculations. Different this type of questions may be asked in the examinations. So any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.